So we're going to do A. Please circle A. We're going to do D and E. Okay? And then yours should look something like this. Put your 4 columns there, so your 3 lines. So we're going to do 4 digits divided by 2 digits. And those of you who were here yesterday are going to be very good help to those who weren't. Start by writing your problem. Don't go ahead of me today, please. Okay, so this whole section here is going to be for problem A. Got it? All right. So the very first decision I have to make, before I even start estimating, raise your hand if you remember it. Zane? Where do I put my box? Yes. If 48 is larger than my divisor, then I can put my box around it. If 4 is larger than my divisor, I can put my box around it. Okay? Now that I know that, and I'm going to, don't write this, but I'm going to show that there will be 3 digits up here. Because do you remember yesterday I told you the very right edge of the box is where you're going to start writing your quotient. Okay? So that means over here, whoops, I'm going to need 3 sets of lines for estimating. So go ahead and write those 3 sets of lines. Okay. So now I'm ready to decide. Am I going to round 23? Am I going to change 23? What's the smartest thing, Miguel? 25. I agree. So that's going to be 25 each time we estimate. And if I skip count by 25s, don't I usually just go 25, 50, 75, 100? Okay, let's do that. And if we need to go farther later, we can. Okay? All right, the next question I ask myself, I'm not going to pull sticks just yet. Which number over here, multiples of 25, is closest to 48? Now, think carefully about this. Raymond, what do you think? 25. Yeah, that's the way we would do it, but I don't want to do it that way. And you want to know why? Samantha, why do you think I should do it differently?
Because if you do it differently, then it'll be a little easier to figure out the answer.
Well, if I try a 1, here's what's going to happen. I already know what's going to happen. Is that remainder too big? Yes. So, I can't try a 1. So, I've got to try a 2. So, this is going to be a 50 and a 2. Remember, I told you, if you want to know if it's going to work, just subtract. Okay, so Liliana, what goes in the guess and check now?
15 times.
No, think about it. You're going to multiply something times 2. There you go. 23 times 2. So is the 2 going to work?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. So I'll write the 2 above the 8. Okay, and when I subtract here, that's nice, isn't it? Nice, easy subtraction. Can I bring down my 5?
Yes.
Okay. Now my question is, what number over to the side is closest to 25? Dade? What number over here, multiples of 25, is closest to 25?
25.
Thank you. So 25 divided by 25 is? Now you have a choice. You can put 23 times 1 in your guess and check, if that helps you. Or you can write it and just subtract it. All right? Is 2 less than 23? Bring down my 9. Preston, which number is closest to 29 without going over?
25.
25. So are we going to use another 1? We sure are. Now, some kids accidentally make this mistake. Instead of writing a 23, they accidentally write the 25 there. So go through and double check and make sure you didn't accidentally write a 25 anywhere. Okay? Now, I'm going to show you what this student did earlier today on a different problem. So put your pencils down. Before we check this using multiplication, I want to try and keep you from making the same mistake this student did. Put your pencil down. Okay. So, actually, I don't even think he had the remainder written. So, he came up and he said, Mrs. Lewis, I'm so confused. I feel like 6 is too small to divide, so I'm going to have to put a 0 there. See why he's thinking that? Because there looks like there's a little space here to write a 0, doesn't there? But what he did, what did he do wrong?
He wrote
Liliana.
He put two 1 something.
Well, he didn't even write these numbers above a digit, did he? No. Where do I write these? Not just above. Directly above the number I brought down. So if your 1 is not directly above the 5, fix it. If your 1 is not directly above the 9, fix it. I don't want you to make that same mistake. I said, you know what? There's not a single thing wrong with any of your numbers. 2 of them are in the wrong place. Okay? So you have to line numbers up directly above the 1 you just brought down. Okay, grab your highlighters. I'm recording. We're using highlighters. Figure it out. Get a colored pencil, something. He'll just have to get it dirty. Just get it dirty. Okay, so now I've got to make a decision. Which number goes on top of the standard algorithm, Azul? The longer number. I love it. She didn't say the larger, did she? No, that's good. Okay, so you're going to multiply using the standard algorithm. I wanted you to highlight in the form of a triangle. I'm recording, so I want to make sure everything's on my recording, first of all. And then we had some mistakes a couple days ago, and I just want to make sure we don't make the same mistakes. So get busy and multiply. Make sure I didn't make a mistake because I'm getting tired today. Okay, so that's the first problem. All right, pretty simple, wasn't it? Let's go down and do the next one. So this one is, we're going to do problem D. So start with your 4 columns, so your 3 lines, and then write problem D, 3,164 divided by 45. Stop when you get that much done. Okay, the very first question I have to ask myself is what, Samantha?
If the 31 is big enough.
Is the 31 big enough to divide into?
No.
No. So where will I put my box?
Behind the 6.
So 316. So here's what this means, boys and girls. This is nice. I'm only going to have a 2-digit quotient. So I'm going to have a number here and a number here. Okay? So how many of those lines do I need?
2.
I don't know why you're waiting till I finish to start writing. All right, so what should I round 45 to in, Joe?
50?
Yep. It's going to be easier to count by 5s than it is 4s anyway, isn't it? And 5 goes up, we remember that. So I've got to go all the way past 316, or close to it. So get the multiples of 50 on there. Okay. So Adrian, which number to the side is closest to 316? 300. So Adrian, I'm going to ask you another question. Okay? What's 30 divided by 5? 6. Okay, everybody write that down. Gage, what should I write in my guess and check?
45 times 6.
Good. Is that going to work?
Yeah.
Kind of looks like it. If we're not sure, what did I tell you the easiest way to figure out? Do the subtraction. I'm not positive, so I'm going to do the subtraction. Is that going to work? No. 46 is not less than 45. So that means this number, 270, is too low. So, Dade, instead of a 6, what am I going to try? A 7. Very good. So 45 times 7. And then the 6 is going to be there in case I need it later in my problem. Does the 7 work?
Yeah.
Yes. So where do I write the 7? I'm pulling a stick here. Moises, where do I write the 7? Above the 6. Very good. Can I bring down the 4, boys and girls? How do you know? 1 is less than 45, okay? So, Miguel, I'm going to ask you a question. You guys be ready to answer in case he doesn't know. Which number over to the side is closest to 14 without going over?
0.
Oh my goodness, I'm such a proud teacher. He didn't need help, did he? Okay, so that means the 0 goes at the top. Remember this from yesterday? Okay. So, you could go ahead and write the 0 and the 14 again, okay? Or you could just write remainder 14. Now get your highlighters. I'm going to take my divisor times my quotient, but I think I'm going to use a mental math strategy instead of turtle head multiplication. How many of you agree with me about the mental math? I wrote turtle head multiplication, so you have to write it so people think you checked it correctly, you know. But we don't have to do it that way. So what mental math strategy am I going to use? Sort of. Take the 0 off and then put it back on. Okay, so what's 45 times 7? And Joe, what's 45 times 7? So I took the 0 off. Now I'm going to put it back on. Okay? Then what do I add in? The remainder. Okay, how you doing? Caden, can you pick your head up, please? Are you doing all right? Are you doing all right, Caden?
Yeah.
Okay, I can tell Moises is because he gave me a thumbs up. Now, I know that I'm going to go into my bottom portion here, so, whoops. So I need a rectangle. All right. I said we're going to do E next, didn't I?
Yeah.
Okay, so start out with your 4 columns. And your 4 columns are so important that if you don't do that on the paper and you come and ask me for help, I'm going to refuse to help you. The very first thing I look at is your guess and check to see if you're on track. Someone came up to me today. They didn't have 4 columns. They didn't even have their estimation lines. They had a little bit of skip counting and part of a problem, and they wanted me to help them. And I said no. Do you agree with me? Yeah. I'll help you if you do it like I ask. So that little child went back, wrote it all down, and guess what? Did not need my help. Okay, so I got to make a decision here. Carlos, what decision do I need to make? Not yet. I don't want to round yet. I have to put a box on, don't I? So where should I put my box, Carlos? You got it.
You're separating the puppies away from each other. You're separating the dogs.
Okay, sounds good. 2 dogs in the doghouse? Okay, so don't confuse us, Caden. All right? So this means, how many digits will I need? 3. So that means I need 3 sets of lines here to estimate with. It was a good idea though, Caden. Now Carlos says we can round our divisor. What will we round it to? 30. So what will I skip count by? You can stop at 15 or 18. Don't you love it when I tell you where you can stop? I know.
You said that yesterday.
Well, you're block 4, so I kind of have it memorized by now. Okay, so the next question I asked myself, which number to the side is closest to 91 without going over, Raymond? I'm going to ask the question again, and I want you to listen to me. Which number is closest to 91 without going over?
90.
Okay. Here's another question for you, Raymond.
Yeah.
What's 9 divided by 3?
3.
Okay. Caden, what should I write in my guess and check?
29 times 3.
Very good. Is that going to work?
Yeah.
Okay. So Zane, where do I write the 3?
Above the 1.
Directly above the 1. And I was so proud of Grant today in block 3 when I recorded it. He said directly above, and then the recording didn't work. So my next step is to subtract. Can I bring down the 5? How do you know? 4 is less than. Good. So Aubrey, the next question goes to you, okay? Which number to the side is closest to 45 without going over? 30. So 30 divided by 30 is, now if you want, can you write 29 times 1? Yes, if it helps you. Otherwise, make sure you put your 1 directly above the 5 and don't accidentally write a 30 there, right? Got to make sure and write a 29. Can I bring down my 2?
Yes.
Azul, which number over to the side is closest to 162 without going over? 150. You guys are getting so good at this. Azul, what's 15 divided by 3?
15 divided by 3.
So 3 times something equals, very good. Aubrey, what do I write in the guess and check?
29.
Times, she said 5. Does it work?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to go down a little bit here. So I've got 145. And when I subtract, I get 17. Is 17 less than 29? Okay, write it down. Then grab your highlighters. Highlight those three numbers. Raymond,
Yes.
what number goes on top of the standard algorithm when I multiply?
The longer one.
Okay, which one's longer?
The 315.
Awesome. Your class is the only class all day that has said the longest number. Okay, so this is a good indication of whether or not you can do turtle head 3-digit by 2-digit without messing up. So try not to look at mine until you're done. You have all your lines? I mean your horizontal lines? Okay. All right, so that's all we're going to do in class today. If you're at home, you can do these other 3 problems on the front of this on a piece of scratch paper or on the very back, okay? All right,